Computer Chronicles is brought to you by BigStar.com, with thousands of videos and DVDs for the whole family. Additional support by TechWeb for up-to-the-minute technology news. And by TVA, Television Associates, bridging the worlds of computers and video with DVD authoring and MPEG encoding services.
Hi, and welcome to this special edition of the Computer Chronicles. We're here in Palm Springs, California this week to bring you coverage of Upside's Showcase Conference, a kind of sneak preview of what you'll be seeing on the internet this year. Lots of the top names in the internet industry are here at this conference, including the chairman of Oracle, Larry Ellison, and we'll be talking with him, and a man you may not think of as an internet pioneer, but he is one now, ABC News superstar Sam Donaldson.
Last summer they came to me and they said, "You want to start an internet show?" I said, "Well, I don't know about that." They said, "Yes, you want to start an internet show." I said, "Exactly right." What to do on the internet? We are dinosaurs, and we know we're dinosaurs. I mean, we at the commercial networks are marginally smart enough to understand that. The problem is the same problem that one of his advisors said about Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon Johnson once said to him, "You know, the problem is not when you're president knowing that you should do right, it's knowing what is right."
Donaldson now hosts a regular 15-minute webcast show called Sam Donaldson at abcnews.com.
Sam Donaldson from the heart of Times Square in New York City with a really big show, another one of our television programs on the World Wide Web.
Here he's prepping his guest for today's show, AT&T's Chief Technology Officer, David Nagel. Donaldson says he's a firm believer in the internet as the future medium for all news.
The internet is going to be the transmission belt, whether it's wireless, whether it's fiber optic, however it comes to your home. And those of us in the news business are going to be bringing it that way. But since it's so easy, in a sense, to create a website and bring you news, does the name Matt Drudge mean anything? There are going to be 10,000 people doing it. So the old days of, "Good evening, this is the news, and I am Mr. Smart." Well, that's over, and we know it.
Donaldson has been a network television journalist for more than 30 years. I asked him if he wasn't concerned about being in the same league now with Matt Drudge, who most reporters don't think of as a real journalist.
It's okay with me that Matt Drudge isn't a journalist, as long as he doesn't say I am a journalist and I check my facts, since he doesn't check his facts. But let all flowers bloom. I'm against censorship. If you or I want to go on and say the silliest things, now I think there's a question about libel and slander, and I think we need to work that out on the internet. I look at some of those chat rooms that thousands watch. It's a publication in my mind, and they say things that if they said it in the New York Times, Times would be sued for every penny it's worth. That'll have to be corrected. But as far as Matt Drudge or anyone else with blatant nonsense, a submarine shot down TW-800. No, but they have a right to say it if they want. And if you're gullible enough to believe it, you have a right to believe it.
Not only is ABC moving aggressively into internet news, so is the New York Times.
The New York Times and ABC News have just launched their new combined effort that Sam mentioned yesterday, where we do a 15-minute political newscast on the web every day, and it's sort of like going back to the early days of TV, where the technology is not quite together yet, flying by the seat of the pants, and it's hard for people like me who write for a newspaper to suddenly get into the process of sending out live reports over the web, but it's clearly changing everything we do in the journalism business.
Lewis says this move to web-based reporting is changing all the rules for print journalists.
We just got a memo, as a matter of fact, all the reporters at the Times, saying that instead of thinking about writing for tomorrow's newspaper, we have to start thinking about posting to the web on a continuous basis. So we're into a continuous news cycle now, just like the TV or radio, and it's a new world for all of us.
Sam Donaldson has covered politics most of his life, and he feels strongly that the internet will revolutionize the political process.
We're going to vote on the internet. This country's going to come to the point. The danger there to me is not that, because we'll be able to safeguard the vote. It'll be a secret ballot. Not that people will vote, because I think easier we make it for people to vote, the better it is for this democracy. The danger is we might get to thinking we want a plebiscite on everything. Hey, let's not have members of Congress debate this and decide this through a laborious process that sort of delay means winnowing out the bad stuff. Let's initially have people immediately tell us in this country, 265 million people, yes, no. We don't want that, I don't think. That, to me, is just one step away from anarchy.
Donaldson says at this point in his career, with little left to prove, he's embracing the internet for the sheer joy of doing something new.
The fun is being part of the new adventure, being part of something that I think in the future is going to be the big, not because I want my name in a little piece of the history book or something, but because it's something that I don't know. It's a challenge to know. Winston Churchill once was asked, what is a vacation? He said, change. He didn't say lying on the beach or just doing what you do. Change. For me, this is a great adventure of change. And I hope the old saying is correct, that it'll keep me young.
The internet business is an astonishing one in so many ways, but one of the most bizarre aspects of this new web industry is that of all the new products and services being demonstrated here at Showcase, virtually all of them are being given away absolutely free. Some of the best deals on the web now are new backup services that give you free access to a virtual hard drive on the net. This is @Backup, a simple way to back up your files on a website. Just click on the files you want to back up, and they automatically get sent to your virtual backup drive in cyberspace. X-Drive is another online storage service offering up to 100 megabytes of storage space for free. What's cool about X-Drive is that it appears like just another drive on your Windows desktop. You have your C drive, your D drive, and your X drive. Copying files to your X drive is as simple as dragging and dropping the file onto the icon. X-Drive also has a nice feature called Skip the Download. If you want to pull down, say, an MP3 file, but you don't want to wait for the download, or if you're at a friend's computer, just dump the MP3 file over to your X-Drive and download it later. And since you're going server to server, it's really fast. This 3 megabyte song moved over to the X-Drive in just 20 seconds. iDrive takes a slightly different approach to virtual storage space. iDrive makes it easy to save websites. Just grab the information you want and transfer it to your iDrive. It grabs all the HTML and metadata, and it works much faster than a bookmark when it comes time to retrieve that data. Zoomerang is another terrific free web service. Basically, it lets you add surveys to your website so you can get organized feedback from your customers, your business associates, or your friends. While most web surfing today still involves using a keyboard or a mouse for input and looking at a computer screen for visual output, there was plenty of evidence at this conference that speech is finally becoming a more common medium for communicating with and on the internet.
Hi, Alvin. Just thought I'd say hi.
This is Fire Talk, a free download that takes net telephony to the next phase. With Fire Talk, all you need is the plug-in, and you can talk to anyone online. In fact, with Fire Talk, you can carry on a conference call with several people at once. One cool feature of Fire Talk is that you can also chat with other people who happen to be looking at the same website as you. Once you go to a site, Fire Talk automatically alerts you to other Fire Talk users who are logged onto that same site. And you can then chat or even invite the other person to follow you to another website. Pagoo is another new web-based voice service designed for people who have only one phone line for voice and internet access. With Pagoo, even if you're online, when someone calls you, instead of their getting a busy signal, they can leave a voice message.
Hi John, it's me. I'm at the airport and I really need you to come pick me up.
That will automatically play on your computer while you're doing other work. We've been hearing about speech recognition and voice synthesis for years now, but this may finally be the year when these systems become real.
I think voice input and voice output is becoming more real for a couple of reasons. I think the technology has gotten to a point that speech recognition is much better than it was a few years ago. It's still not perfect for dictation or something like that, but it's not bad, and it's good enough to get simple information like driving directions or weather or stock quotes. I think the other thing that's happening is text-to-speech has gotten much better, so that when you get information over the phone, it sounds more like a person as opposed to a computer talking.
It's like on-air radio dedications.
This is e-dedication, a new way to jazz up your email by adding sound. Do you and your sweetheart have a special song? With e-dedication, you can grab 30 seconds of the song and attach it as a sound file to any online greeting card or plain email message. Many of the new services being offered on the internet are counting on more bandwidth to enable them, and there finally seems to be a consensus on how that bandwidth is going to be used.
We've at least come to two conclusions. Number one, the internet is going to be the conduit for digital broadcast going forward. Secondly, the process of using the internet within entertainment is going to be interactive. So we've at least gotten to some building blocks in the sense of we know what's going to happen. What we have to now develop is tools. We have to expand the broadband conduit itself, and then we have to start building applications on top of that that make sense.
AT&T is one of the carriers working hard to upgrade their system to make broadband connections available to more customers. The question is, when will that happen?
Well, I think the reality is that it's here. You know, we obviously purchased TCI. We have new telephone services based on. We're about 2/3 of the way through the upgrading of the network to two-way. We'll be, you know, essentially complete at the end of this year, early next year with that. We're rolling out telephone services already in about 10 different markets. The year 2000 is the year when we really put the pressure on in the sense of really rolling stuff out and selling services in a variety of markets. So it's all happening in the next couple of years, and you know, fortunately the technology is working fantastically. We can provide better service than the local telephone company over the cable, and you know, demonstrably have been doing that. So it's here.
If you're trying to figure out which broadband service to get, most analysts are saying DSL is the most likely near-term solution.
In the overall broadband, obviously DSL is the first layer. I'd like to say that cable modems are going to actually expand quicker, but they are really getting slow in deployment. And actually putting in the two-way backstations is really tough. Whereas the DSL, they're able to actually deal with the compressions on that pretty quickly and get that expanded. So even though if we can only get it to 128 or 384, it's going to give you a much better experience, which lets the software developers who are creating for the net do something even more important.
More broadband, of course, means more content and different kinds of content. That is partly the motivation behind AOL's move to get access to content through the Time Warner acquisition. But over at AT&T, they're not worried about owning content.
We're a network company. We're the kind of company that content companies need in order to reach the customers. So we provide access, we provide the network, we provide the transport, and I think, frankly, that's what we're really good at. We need to make sure that our customers have access to content, so it's important that we work with people like AOL. It's also important that they work with us, because without us, they don't have access to their customers, and they don't have access, even with the purchase of Time Warner, only a small fraction. They miss 85% of the people in the country. So, you know, whether they work with us or others, they're going to have to work with access providers, and that's what we're good at.
One business sector that stands to benefit from more broadband access is the ASP industry, the application service providers, who believe even applications belong on the net, not on your hard drive.
Anyway, 4 years ago, Oracle decided, I decided that we will never again do any desktop software. The desktop software is a ridiculous idea, and it's all going to go away. But the only thing you should have on your desktop is a browser that allows you to access data, shared data, across the network. And the program that accesses that data should also be on the server. In other words, the data is shared, the application should be shared, the data should be on a server, and so should the program. By the way, that's the way the internet works. And that's the way everything is going to work.
The first consumer product to come out of that decision is NetLedger, an internet-based accounting service. Larry Ellison is the chairman of this new company.
Of course, NetLedger does accounting, does all the things QuickBooks does, but it does a lot of things that QuickBooks can never do because the NetLedger application is on the internet. It's not isolated on your personal computer. Simple case, your accountant, they're checking your books, can work on it, doesn't have to come over to your office to get access to that application. Can just log on to the internet. Where you're in your hotel room and you want to check something, all your employees can check it at home because it's on where they're authorized. It's on the internet. More interestingly, your suppliers can go and check and see how much you owe them. They can see how much of their inventory is in your store. Your suppliers come online and have access to the database.
One of the concerns with Larry Ellison's model of networked computing is security. Once your files are up in cyberspace somewhere, it seems like you have less control over your data. But Ellison says that's not true.
The Central Intelligence Agency uses Oracle, not the Windows NT file system to store their data. So does the National Security Agency. If you think your data is safer on your PC in your file system in your living room than it is in an Oracle database on the internet, you are mistaken. It's not even close. I can hack into your PC very easily. You have no security and no privacy right now if your PC is attached to a network. If your obviously if your PC is not attached to your network, other people wandering by your PC can get at it. That's the least secure place to put information. The least private place in the world to put information is in your PC file system.
In answering a question from the audience about the safety of keeping your data on the internet, Ellison said there's no comparison between the security that a network can provide versus the problems you face on your own hard drive.
Sure, but once I'm centralized, I become more of a target. I mean, my individual machine.
When's the last time you've heard about an Oracle virus? Now, have PCs ever had viruses or security problems? And do you want to make a list of the PC viruses and security problems versus Oracle problems? According to one intelligence agency, we are in excess of 1 million times safer for storage of data than a personal computer. More reliable, less subject to software problems, less subject to failure, and 6 orders of magnitude.
Another beneficiary of broadband internet service, that is 384 kilobits per second or more, will be the long-touted but never realized video phone.
You're getting close to be able to almost get the video phone. Any PC that has the video camera connected to one of these video phone sites that'll be established in the next year. So at 384, you're going to be getting up to 10, 12 frames per second. While it's not as great as 24 or 30 frames per second, boy, I'll tell you, once you start bringing live images into email and to the communications process, that has a dramatic impact on the way we think and work, whether it be in business or in the consumer space, is how we communicate.
E-commerce has become the killer revenue app on the internet because at least there somebody actually pays to buy something. But based on the products and services we're seeing demonstrated here at Showcase, it seems clear that e-commerce is about to become a lot more than simply buying things online. eBoodle is a neat shopping assistant. It's a web crawler which does the usual shopping comparisons for you on different websites or auction sites, but eBoodle goes one step further, providing an e-shopping management tool. It puts all your online shopping transactions in one file so you can easily check up on what you bought, the status of an order, confirmation numbers, or purchase bonuses earned. Accompany.com is taking a new approach to group buying on the web. Accompany is not an e-commerce site, but an aggregator of buying power. It makes deals with other e-commerce sites and then offers fleet pricing to individual buyers who form buying groups on the web. Accompany says its buying groups can get discounts of up to 50% from a wide variety of online merchants. E-commerce is also moving away from just selling things to selling services. This is Handshake.com. You can find local service providers offering everything from house cleaning to babysitting. While it's easy to buy new products and even new cars online, this website, BestOffer.com, is putting used car sales on the web. If you want to sell a car, Best Offer actually sends out a mechanic to check out your car. They create a detailed condition report and then post that report on the website. For buyers, Best Offer also provides a search engine so you can look for a particular kind of used car. It also offers escrow and financing services. iBooks has created a new kind of online bookseller. Unlike Amazon, iBooks delivers your reading material electronically. And when you're shopping for books, you can search for key terms and then actually look inside the book to make sure it has what you want. Then, when you're ready to buy it, iBooks downloads the book to your personal online bookshelf. The main focus of iBooks right now is IT reference materials. Net Perceptions is a very interesting web service that makes it easy to figure out what it is you want to buy. You fill in a simple questionnaire online, and then Net Perceptions will find what they call shopping soulmates who have similar tastes. The site shows you what other movies, books, or CDs they have ordered as a guide to what else you might like. You've heard of B2B and B2C commerce sites. Well, this is a C2B site, consumers selling to business. The site is called ShareYourWorld.com, and it's an online talent agency for consumers who want to sell digital media to broadcasters and advertisers. Just post your video clips or your photos on the site, and buyers can scan the inventory and hopefully make you an offer. And finally, this is Web Casket. Yes, you can now get buried online. The folks at Web Casket realized there were huge gross margins on products like caskets, so they decided to sell them online. Their prices are about half of what you'd pay at the local funeral parlor, and they're still making a healthy profit.
Customer relationship management, Oracle competes with companies like
While Larry Ellison and Microsoft's Bill Gates disagree a lot and are seen as fierce adversaries, in this era of the fast-changing internet, both men have stepped back from their CEO responsibilities to get closer to product development.
All of these guys at the top who really get it are beginning to realize now that if they don't take control and make things happen, they might be left in the dust. And I think that that's reflected both in what Gates is doing as well as what Larry Ellison's doing.
Historically, I have never been terribly interested in the sales or service aspects of our business. About 18 months ago, when we decided to transform ourselves into an e-business, I said, well, get my engineering background suddenly going to come in handy, converting the way we do business, because we're going to market on the internet. We're going to do sales on web stores on the internet. We're going to become an e-business rather than a conventional business. We're going to have uniform practices around the globe. All of our processes are going to be mediated by computers on the internet. Well, suddenly, this old engineer is qualified to get heavily involved in operations and convert our business into an e-business. And that's how I really moved from my traditional role in engineering, albeit though I am CEO of Oracle, I've really kind of ignored and delegated all of those things. I'm now heavily involved in every aspect of our operation because every aspect of our operation is on the internet.
And over at Microsoft, Bill Gates is doing the same thing for the same reason.
And I am convinced that what Gates did was a critical strategic move because, number one, he will now be responsible for harmonizing all the software activities, but number two, he's going to make sure that it happens. And so I don't see a justice thing at all. I think it's a very smart move, and I think Bill knows exactly what he's doing.
There has been speculation that Gates stepped down as CEO to avoid being the focus of the Justice Department's antitrust action. But Tim Baharin says he knows that's not the case.
There's no justice connection whatsoever. I've spent a lot of time with Microsoft on multiple issues and multiple strategies. And I will tell you that the number one thing I learned early on, and Steve Ballmer actually told me this back when Gates finally said he got the internet, he said that unless Bill makes it happen, it doesn't happen.
But Larry Ellison doesn't quite agree on what motivated Gates to step down.
We compete very vigorously with Bill, but I do have tremendous respect for Microsoft and Steve Ballmer and Bill Gates and all the things that they've accomplished. I think people make those decisions often for very personal reasons as well as job content reasons. Microsoft, it must not have been very much fun being attacked by the Justice Department and vilified. And I think I think they really did break the law. And it's tough when you break the law and someone suddenly says, yeah, you broke the law, and there was the finding of fact was just devastating. So again, I don't know how much a role that played in it, but again, can't be much fun up there.
A few years ago, before Steve Jobs returned to the helm at Apple, rumors were swirling that Larry Ellison wanted to acquire Apple. Those were the days when Apple's stock had sunk to the low 20s and Apple's best people were bailing out. One of them was Apple's chief technology officer at the time, David Nagel.
It was very tough the last few years that I was there because the internet hadn't happened, and so people were still obsessed with, gee, you guys only have 10,000 applications, Windows has 50, you're gonna, And all of that, of course, has gone away subsequently, and frankly, the only application that matters now is the internet. And so the things that Apple is incredibly good at, making stuff really easy to use, and under Steve, fantastic industrial design, and a lot of innovation back in the product line, it almost makes it seem like it'd be fun to be there again.
Indeed, the Apple resurgence has surprised many analysts, and the credit, of course, goes to one man, the charismatic and enigmatic Steve Jobs.
There's no question that what Steve's done has been fascinating. It's interesting because I met with him a day or so after he came into the company, and at that time he already had in his mind that the big thing was going to be industrial design. This was, almost 2 years ago, and to a lot of us then, we just couldn't see it. And yet the iMac has really set the entire PC industry in a topsy-turvy because now everybody's looking at that. And I think that going forward, besides what he's doing with the next generation of the interface with Aqua, plus the way he's tying iTools to the next generation of the operating system, he's doing some very creative things.
The words like astounding come to mind. For me, it really is impressive because I know how hard it is to do what he's done. And frankly, I think that he has a unique personality, not timid particularly. And I think, frankly, anything short of his personality in that position would not have worked. I think it is almost entirely due to his being there and being who he is.
But while Apple and Jobs are basking in the glow of success right now, Tim Baharan says that's no guarantee of long-term success.
At least for the next 12 to 18 months, he'll keep this company going. Past 18 months, I think it's extremely challenging, but, you can't fault the guy. He's brought the stock up to about 100 plus, and if I was an investor, I'd be ecstatic.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Stuart Chaffee at Upside's Showcase Conference in Palm Springs, California.
The Computer Chronicles is brought to you by BigStar.com, with thousands of videos and DVDs for the whole family. Additional support by TechWeb for up-to-the-minute technology news. And by TVA, Television Associates, bridging the worlds of computers and video with DVD authoring and MPEG encoding services.
To purchase a videotape copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-310-7850. Please specify the show number and the topic.